Hello and welcome. I'm Mark. I'm currently trying to figure out a good concepting workflow. And to explore that, I created the Cradle. It stemmed from a very vague brief, which meant I had to start with extremely loose, almost crayon-like thumbnails. Though the number doesn't really matter, I created 20 thumbnails, which I was satisfied with. The goal here was variety. I wanted each thumbnail to feel fundamentally different from the others, exploring all options without any sort of judgment about being good or bad. If the silhouette and gesture was interesting enough, it was good enough. Only at the end did I select a thumbnail to develop further and create variations. These are slightly more detailed sketches, though still fairly quick and quite loose. I do allow myself to zoom in a bit more, but details are a big no-no at this stage. Here, the idea was to keep the general silhouette and mood constant and explore anatomical possibilities, proportions, and secondary shapes on top of it. Here, specifically, I'm drawing inspiration from the haunting illustrations and characters of Geiger, Beksiński, and Adam Duff, forms that feel simultaneously organic and alien, beautiful and unsettling. These variations give me the confidence to start on a final sketch. In this phase, I tried to resolve roughly 80% of the design. I'm working over my chosen variation, which I propped to lower opacity on the layer below. I built up a relatively clean sketch that addresses most of the major design decisions. This is where my recent infatuation with the art of Alan Williams becomes apparent. Beautiful, bony structures with a myriad of intricate details adorned with feathers and the occasional fleshy appendage. This is also the stage where technical considerations become crucial. I'm thinking about readability, physics, how the creature might actually exist in some planet oh so far away. This is the time to incorporate the practical side of concept art that needs you to think beyond visually striking imagery. All of this careful planning will form the basis for the rendering phase where the real work begins, the drawing stage. Now here's the part I expected to have the most trouble with, and I did. See, my natural drawing style leans heavily into chiaroscuro, deep darks with dramatic lighting. It works well, very well in my opinion, for figurative work. But as I developed this piece, I realized that wasn't going to show off this concept effectively. But regardless, I kept on drawing. Partway through, I sought some feedback from my Discord friend Kos, or some say Kosum, who's way more experienced in this style and approach. The advice was invaluable. He suggested that I push the light values more to create a better balance, that I replace these stone-like spikes with something more organic, more bone-like, to maintain the design language, something like vertebrae. He also suggested that I should remove elements that only served to make the creature more believable but did not add anything to the concept itself, the story. On that note, if you're interested in similar dark organic concept work and illustrations, I highly recommend checking out Cosm's channel. His approach to this kind of imagery is exceptional. I'll have it linked below in the description. As I start incorporating his feedback, it sparked something unexpected. While reworking the design elements, a story began to emerge. The idea of a plucked feather, of sacrifice, of this strange maternal relationship. Sometimes the narrative finds you during the process rather than driving it from the beginning. Though of course that would not work for a professional concept art workflow. It only worked for me for this one piece because the storytelling was not my primary objective. I plan on keeping it in mind for future pieces. Now with the drawing resolved, the challenge is to translate this pencil drawing into something more appropriate for concept art, something crisper, something more painted. The technical hurdle here was unexpected, to say the least. I wanted to create a crisp and clean painting, which is typical for concept art. So, naively, I tried to create a solid mask on a layer below and fill it with local values. I did that pretty well, I think, but somehow it seemed as if the charm of the original drawing disappeared entirely. After mulling it over some, I decided to take a more painterly approach. On a layer below, no mask, no lines, nothing. I just took a very messy brush and started painting the local values directly. Afterwards, I used multiple adjustment layers to build up the foundation for the various colors, color vibrations, saturation, and all of that jazz. This let me maintain some of that organic, hand-drawn quality while achieving the clarity that concept art demands. The theme of maternal sacrifice that emerged during the drawing phase now drove the color choices. Muted, earthy tones for the flesh, desaturated ones for the bone, and a vibrant blue for the feathers. Two of them plucked, one being used as something like a pacifier for the baby in what can scarcely be described as a cradle. The whole piece has become about this paradox of destruction and care, of giving oneself away to sustain something else, something that you love more dearly than your own being. I have yapped enough. I think I leave you to enjoy the rest of the time lapse in peace. Thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed. See you next time.